We will begin here. The U.S. Senate has confirmed 2 new Maine officials.
That's right. Andrew Benson will serve as U.S. Attorney and David St. Pierre will serve as U.S. Marshal. Benson currently lives in Unity. He served as a judge on the Maine District Court from 2014 to 2025. St. Pierre served in the Lewiston Police Department for 33 years, spending the last 4 as chief. He led the department through the Lewiston mass shootings. Senator Susan Collins said in a statement yesterday that she was proud to support both of their nominations, adding that she is confident that they will serve the people of Maine with distinction. In just 3 weeks, Mainers will decide which candidates will get their party's nomination.
Arlene Stapleton joining us this morning with details on the races for Maine's congressional delegation, as well as some reminders if you're going to be heading out there and voting. Good morning, Leanne.
Hey, good morning, Lee and Sharon. So the primary election is coming up on June 9th. For Maine's 1st congressional district, Democratic incumbent Shelley Pingree is looking to keep her seat. Republicans Joshua Petrowitz and Ronald Russell are running for their party's nomination. For Maine's 2nd congressional district, only one Republican is running, former Maine Governor Paul LePage. His Democratic challengers are Joe Baldacci, Matthew Dunlap, Paige Loud, and Jordan Wood. Now, if you plan on voting absentee, you can request an absentee ballot on the state's website. As of May 15th, close to 30,000 absentee ballots have been requested. Now, if you do request an absentee ballot, you have up until June 4th. And if you request a ballot close to Election Day, Chief Deputy Secretary of State Kate McBride recommends you physically drop off that absentee ballot to your polling location.
In order to have your vote counted through an absentee ballot, you actually have to have your ballot in the hands of the clerk by 8 p.m. on Election Day. So in Maine, as opposed to some other states, it doesn't matter when you mailed it, it has to arrive and be accepted and in the hands of the municipality where you're voting.
McBride says to check your polling location to see what time polls actually open. That's because not every location is open at the same time. In our next half hour, we'll go over the primary candidates for Maine governor and those looking to unseat Senator Susan Collins. I'm Leanne Stapleton for News Center Maine.
All right, Leanne, thank you. President Trump also preparing for primaries, with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth traveling to Kentucky in a rare campaign visit to urge voters to defeat Congressman Thomas Massie by casting their votes for his opponent instead.
Massie is one of the Iran war's biggest critics. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
A key test today for President Trump as he seeks to unseat congressional Republicans who've crossed him, with perhaps his biggest target, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, on the ballot today in what is now the most expensive House primary in history.
It's great to be here.
The president posting a flurry of messages against Massie and this video.
Massie's the worst congressman in the history of our country, always voting against Republicans and good values.
Massie says he votes with Republicans 90% of the time.
The problem is that 10% of the time, they're voting against you.
Though he's clashed with the White House on key issues, including the budget and the war with Iran. And he's stirred up frustrations for helping lead the charge to release the Epstein files. His challenger, Ed Galrine, a farmer and former Navy SEAL, on offense.
The stakes are just going to get higher. Okay. He will continue to betray us.
Massie says he still supports President Trump, but argues
the main thing they've got to decide is, do they want a rubber stamp?
President Trump has shown his power to oust Republicans who split with him. Over the weekend, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy lost his primary, having entered the president's crosshairs after he voted to convict him for inciting the January 6th insurrection. Key allies backing the president.
There's no room in this party to destroy his agenda.
As President Trump tightens his grip with midterm election season well underway. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Meantime, the president is calling yesterday's shooting at a mosque in California a terrible situation, and he's promising to dig more deeply into what happened. Just before noon, shots were fired at the Islamic Center of San Diego, forcing a nearby school into lockdown. At least 5 people were killed, including a security guard and 2 of the teenage suspects. The FBI is assisting local law enforcement in the investigation, which authorities say they are considering a hate crime.
All right, back here in Maine, the investigation into the deadly Searsmont fire now entering day 5. The ATF and Fire Marshal's office still have the entrance to Robbins Mill closed in order to conduct interviews. Also, they've been surveying what's left of the mill to reverse engineer the buildings that are now gone. We have confirmed that Searsmont lost one of its fire engines, and Belmont and Appleton both lost fire tankers in this incident. At this point, the cause of the fire yet to be determined, but some are speculating sawdust may have had something to do with the initial explosion. We are expecting to hear more. Authorities are expected to hold a briefing later this afternoon. Meantime, the Maine Department of Labor is working with the mill to help its team apply for unemployment and get rapid response services. And the Fire Marshal's office is releasing the names of all of those who have been injured and that are still undergoing treatment. Searsmont's Assistant Fire Chief Wayne Woodbury is at Maine Medical Center. Searsmont EMS Chief Sarah Tompkins, Belmont Northport firefighter Catherine Page, Montville firefighter Jacob Spalding, mill employee Thomas Wolf. Now, 3 members of the Robbins family also among the injured. Co-owner and vice president of the Robbins Mill, Catherine Robbins Halstead, told us that Jim, Alden, and Lily Robbins are all currently being treated at Mass General Hospital's Burn Center. She says the family is thankful for all the support and the prayers and the kindness that they have received. A memorial for the firefighter who was killed does sit outside the Morrill Volunteer Fire Department. A GoFundMe page was created to support the loved ones of first responders affected by this fire, and as of this morning, it had raised more than $33,000.
Bangor police are looking for a man who's been missing since February. Take a look at your screen. This is Whitney Bryan. Police say he's 5'6" with blue eyes and brown hair. As you can see, we're told police are trying to check on his well-being. So if you have any information about Bryant or where he might be, Bangor police are asking that you give them a call.
Later today, South Portland city leaders will be discussing the police department's continued use of a certain type of camera. The department has been using automated license plate recognition cameras in high traffic areas around the city, as well as on some police cruisers. The city says some members of the public have been questioning the privacy and safety of using those cameras. Now, the city is holding off on renewing a contract with the security company responsible for the flock cameras until the council can get some more information.
A growing number of cities and towns across Maine are writing up proposals for a temporary block on data centers. The city of Westbrook joined that list last night. The Westbrook City Council unanimously approved a 180-day moratorium on the construction of data centers in the city. Officials say this will give the council more time to study how data center would impact the environment and taxpayers. Residents in favor of the temporary pause say that they have concerns about noise and light pollution, and they also say they believe these developments could abuse the city's resources without proper regulation.
Hearing about this topic, quite a bit would be no data centers in Westbrook, and theoretically no data centers in Maine. Really, that's where I'm at right now. But I think that with any project of this scope, it's important to do our due diligence and really consider the impact.
Last month, Bangor became the first municipality in the state to implement a data center moratorium. Tomorrow, the Scarborough Town Council is set to discuss a similar moratorium during its council meeting.
Today, the city of Portland is presenting how residents would like to use some space in the Bayside neighborhood. There are 4 undeveloped plots of land known as the Midtown properties. Last month, the city did ask the public for some insight on best way to use that space. Buildings in the zone could include apartments, townhouses, offices, some child care centers, among other things. Tonight at 5:30, the Housing and Economic Development Committee will share its findings from the survey. That meeting will be held over Zoom.